The conversation took place at Helena Galani's space on Education. Helena started the conversation talking about her students' habits.
In many different respects. And let's take first into account the fact that they managed to, they're given the opportunity to observe their own habits, behavioral habits, and they change. Or they help their peers, and so they develop habits within the team. It's not only in terms of language aims that they gain benefits on, but otherwise, socially, also emotionally. It's like observing yourself during a machinima.
Yeah, absolutely.
And overcoming your inhibitions over also.
Yeah, that's true. But don't you think that there are a number of things that prevent people from getting into Second Life, for example, or a virtual world?
Oh, well, I don't think so, because first of all, it's free.
Yeah.
Anybody could get in.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to take out a paid plan. I mean, there is a lot of cheap or even free material on the marketplace, so that would be convenient. I mean, if students come in, they don't even have to contribute financially. I know they need to have the right equipment, which is costly, like the right hardware, especially the headset, USB headset, just to make sure that the quality of their sound or even machinima is quite good. But other than that, it is an open platform. I see it as an open, friendly platform. And I don't understand how it compares financially to other platforms. They all charge.
Yeah, you have been very successful in your machinima production for Machinevo 2015, and you even won the Camelot Award for your machinima. So was that the first time you ever created machinima?
Yes, it was the very first time.
Oh, wow.
And I really I felt inspired by the whole community here, by your teaching, the ideas, the technical expertise that you contributed, all of you in here. And I really put the best of me in it. I felt that it could teach something, and this kind of contrastive analysis of the different genres for the same type of writing,
Mm-hmm.
I felt very eager about developing such a type of machinima because I think that there hadn't been a similar one in the past.
Could you
So,
explore a little about it, what you did for this machinima?
yeah, sure, of course I can. I contrasted different registers and styles of writing letters or messages of invitation um, through, well, yes, through an oral actually medium,
Mm-hmm.
but with the use of visuals and
Mm-hmm.
text.
Mm-hmm.
I presented the sample, let's say, text passages for students, and I got them to um, analyze the different types of language. See, it's easier for the student, especially younger ones, to see the difference if the lesson, if the language is presented in a more exaggerated form, like who would speak formal other than a king, and
Mm-hmm.
who would speak more informal other than a baby. And it's so because young students have got this kind of difficulty understanding levels of formality, I thought that this would be a very sort of striking approach, memorable approach for them.
Absolutely. And of course, in which real life situation would you get the king to act in a film, right? So that was really
True.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, we even had a king,
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Newsom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And have you actually used this machinima in your teaching?
Yes, it was very involving. It was very interactive. The students wanted to write on the Padlet wall, Helena's Padlet wall, and make suggestions about what she should do next, give her advice. It was immersive. And I'm not talking about technical immersion, I'm talking about linguistic immersion, task-based learning. They found the the purpose behind getting in touch with this heroine and giving her advice and writing more letters and text messages or email messages to her. And from the feedback I received on that particular episode, let's say, of Lives, I realized how much they valued this technique, even though it would count as any other usual video. But no, it actually was not the same. It was a different animation involved. Really attracts learners' attention at any age, to be honest.
Okay. Well, some think that the lack of facial expressions and so on would disturb them, but that was not the case, right?
No, I would say quite the contrary. The fact that there is not so much, because we still have animation and we have HUDs for emotions that we could use. But despite the more restrictive sort of use of paralinguistic cues, learners are given the opportunity to focus on the linguistic cues mostly. The tone of the voice, the pronunciation, the phonology, and the fact that the machinima is available for them to play over and over is very useful for them.
And have your students ever created their own machinima?
Oh, not yet at least. It is amongst my plans to get them to take footage, as we say, to film, but they have been involved in writing the script, the scenario, brainstorming, even on the costumes, the background, the environment, settings, the music, recording their voice. And what I find particularly impressive is their eagerness to improve their phonological performance through repetition, trial and error, and this kind of approach. And the teacher doesn't even have to remind them of the fact that, well, that sound didn't come out very well. They take initiative by themselves.
And is that
To
different?
improve.
I mean, using machinima, do you feel much difference using machinima in the classroom to normal teaching without machinima? I mean, what is the added value actually?
Well, in a machinima, you would highlight the teaching aims. So the student always has this material available to refer to at any time from the comfort of their home. Not only is their memory boosted like that, but their attention, their eagerness, they change mindset completely. They become more positive. They find a purpose behind learning the teaching aims every time.
That's interesting.
Focusing on them. Yes, it's more purposeful. They have more reason to respond to the machinima message rather than to do one grammar exercise after the other. I'm not saying that grammar exercises as such have no value. No, they have their own role at the right stage of the course and of the lesson. But a machinima contributes differently. It's like the eye catcher.
Because of the visuals, right?
Because of the visuals, but also because it separates the teaching aims and helps the learner focus on them more clearly.
Okay. And would you say that your students learn better with machinima than without? Or
I would say that they learn better and they learn faster too. They become more aware of their needs, their linguistic needs. But when we talk about machinima, I should make the difference between what I call the process-made machinima and the product-made machinima. If
okay.
they're involved in the process of making it,
Mm-hmm.
This is more immersive and um, more purposeful than simply watching a video.
Okay. So that's the main difference between watching videos and watching machinima, to be involved in the process. Is that right?
Yes, for me,
Hmm. Yeah.
that's what makes the biggest difference. Making the machinima, getting the student to create the machinima, to contribute towards the creation of it at any stage,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
whether be it for the audio or the script or the scenario description,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
afterwards the improvement, because there are machinimas that my students get to work on in order to improve, for example, the dialogue. So if they
Okay.
don't like it, if they don't like the first
Hmm.
footage,
Yeah.
then they say, "Oh no, no, we can't possibly have this on your channel with people watching it. It
Hmm.
would be unacceptable," they say. So let's use our audio recording tools
Okay.
and record the dialogues again, or the
Fantastic.
text.
Yeah. Great.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that sounds really great. I mean, have you ever, well, I suppose you have, used other people's machinima in your classroom? Not the
Um,
ones you created?
no, that's very strange. There's a huge variety of machinimas, language teaching machinimas,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
don't seem to be appropriate for my teaching aims and the types of students every time. So every student or every class I have, they produce their own machinima, or they watch the machinima I've made for them for the particular teaching purposes. I think it takes longer to search for a machinima that already exists out there
Mm-hmm.
rather than compared with making one by
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm. You just addressed the time. I mean, the time it could use up for making a machinima. Um, how does that feel for you yourself or for your students, that is time consuming, and how does that fit into your curriculum?
Again, it depends on what type of machinima we are talking about. If talking about the machinima the teacher I have created, then this is routine. It can be done very fast. I
Okay.
mean, sometimes even less than an hour. And I
Okay.
can even include audio and music. But when it comes to machinima learners make, then that may be a little bit longer to produce, because simply because students are not satisfied with the first outcome and they want to go back to it and improve technically, but the sound, their dialogues, their script, their pronunciation, and that takes longer.
And what about the quality of machinima? Is that an issue, that sometimes the sound is not good enough, or
Mm. They will never make a comment about that unless it's their English, which doesn't sound good. And unless this is what disturbs them, in that case they will say, no, I would like to improve it. Uh, otherwise, they will not say that the sound is breaking, or the visual is not consistent, or why is there lag. They're not going to pay attention, I think. It's the overall outcome that uh, they're interested in, that serves the learning purposes. Technical issues such as, for example, using the wrong headset with the wrong microphone, so that the student is not easy to understand when they speak. Yes, in that case, we resort to text chat, and instead of practicing speaking skills, the student may focus on typing, writing, spelling, structure, syntax. in written form until they get the right headset. It's very important for them to have a USB headset. Otherwise, yes, you do tell the difference. Um, that's right, yes. And this is why I insist on showing them Machinima from my computer, knowing the quality of the graphics card and the audio.
Hmm. And you do that
Um,
in class, or do you do that outside the classroom? I mean, your creation of Machinima or showing the video. You show your video in the classroom, right?
right. Let me
Hmm.
explain the teaching background at the
Yes, yes,
moment.
please, please, please do.
I mean, in the last for 27 years, I've been teaching English as a foreign language and English for academic purposes
Hmm.
and business purposes too. And I have been using computer-assisted language learning devices. But when it comes to the use of virtual environments, whether it is for adult education, which I'm involved in, or young learners, actually, with the young learner school, things are a little bit different. I need permissions to do that because it's not my school. But at the adult school, I've got more freedom to use it to use virtual worlds, virtual environments, and machinima as additional classes outside the classroom from their learners' homes twice a week, during which process I either flip the class, the lessons,
Hmm.
preparing them for the forthcoming teaching aims, or practice already taught um, subjects and language. In terms of registered private tuition that I'm involved in, we do use Machinima in class and virtual environments also at any time. It can also be from home when the student is at home. So it depends on the needs on the course, the
Hmm.
stage. So I
Okay.
try to mix the processes a bit so that it's not repetitive and monotonous. It's
Hmm.
better to have a more sort of impromptu approach, which will not bore the learner.
Yeah, that's a good approach. Yeah. Okay, there were some more question I had. Well, I have already asked you whether you see a difference between using machinima videos created in 3D or real life videos, and what kind of difference you see there.
Um, Again, the question is, are you referring to machinimas or videos that the student will create or that the teacher has created or already existing material?
That the I think there is a difference. There's quite a difference between the machinima the teacher has created him or herself and ready-made machinima, and that is probably the same like videos, ready-made
Any
videos.
video.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would you agree
Yes.
with that?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
Except, of course, if we consider the effect that the animation has, this kind of image, the simulation, the representation through an avatar, this kind of significance, semiotic significance that an avatar can have for the student, and how the student identifies with this symbol, which could be their own avatar actually. They are
Hmm.
proud of their own avatar, even if it's
Hmm.
a basic looking avatar that hasn't changed their appearance and outfit yet. They are proud of the result
Hmm.
and the overall contribution in the dialogue, for example, or in the storyline, in the scenario,
Hmm. Hmm.
because they have contributed somehow even if it is, even if the footage has been taken by the teacher, the student has always contributed to a certain extent.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
that's
what makes difference.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that is what task-based learning is about, and the
That's
involvement
right.
of students. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's fantastic. And well, I had the opportunity to see some of the videos you created, and they are really of great quality, and they are fantastic. What actually is the main focus you use in your machinima, and which level are you normally teaching?
All levels. It's appropriate for all levels.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Let's take, for example, the adult school. It's basic English at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It can be any lesson, any learning aim. It could be a grammar point or vocabulary or skills. I'm particularly keen on language in use
Mm-hmm.
and skills-based lessons, even
Okay.
writing lessons. I think that they are more memorable through a material, and the contrastive analysis between different styles that the student gets involved in is more attractive. And I do not see any disadvantages. There are multiple advantages.
So more advantages than disadvantages, yeah?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, how did you get involved? Where did you hear about machinima making? Machinevo was the first
Yeah.
time you came across it, but where did you get this idea from?
It must have been on Facebook, social media, or Twitter, on
Okay.
my Twitter
Oh, okay.
account somehow. I think I saw the advertisement or the announcement, and I
Mm-hmm.
just put my name down. And because I have been using videos with students, videos that students actually produce to
Mm-hmm.
promote their locality, for example,
Okay.
um, or people from their location. I found this a very attractive sort of option, and I put my name down, and I really appreciate that moment. I came to meet you all,
We all
really.
do. We all do that you came. Yes. I mean, when your students made these videos, what device did they use? Did they use a camera or their mobile devices or?
Anything. Their
Ah,
tablet, their mobile,
okay.
digital camera,
Mm-hmm.
any possible medium, any possible tool. Even it doesn't even have to be the latest technology.
Mm-hmm.
They can use an old mobile phone to take
Mm-hmm.
photographs. Or,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be them. We exchange and we put together our material and select the best shots and instances.
Yeah, I bet they
Yeah.
have great fun. Oh,
They do. And
yeah,
so have I actually. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's creative for the teacher too.
yeah, you sound
And
like
then
it.
otherwise,
Sorry, yeah.
otherwise we use desktop tools,
Mm-hmm.
free open source to compile all the pictures, all the film that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and recording tools. There's paid versions, but also free versions.
Mm-hmm. So there's one last question I have, and that is about cultural differences, if they can be conveyed via machinima, and how this can be done.
They can be conveyed through machinima, not only differences, but also cultural similarities, because we do have a lot of points in common, everybody,
Mm-hmm.
all of us, actually. Through illustration of a hyperbole, for example, an extreme exaggeration of the behaviors, the habits of a particular group of people, based on a scenario, on a situation, that can be easily done.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be offensive,
Okay.
because it's well intent. It's not ill intent. It is to teach and to increase awareness and understanding.
Mm-hmm. So I said that was my last question, but I still have one, and that is, which kind of machinima attract your students most?
Anything. I think Even romance would have a teaching purpose and would be very persuasive. Anything. We haven't tried a thriller yet,
Mm-hmm.
but it would achieve its aims. I think comedy perhaps is what they would prefer,
Mm-hmm.
but they are still entertained by the genre of machinima in general, the medium of machinima. So it doesn't matter.
Okay, so all these people are, as you're saying, involved in Second Life, or you
Yes,
using Second Life, and not from the
yes.
outside. They don't just watch the machinima; they are involved in the machinima, right?
They are involved and we have lessons. Like, for example, yesterday we went to a shop I had set up and there were different objects in the shop and they decided that they wanted to buy a car. And
Mm-hmm.
we had a very nice conversation about asking questions about cars. What kind of questions? What vocabulary? And that really prepared me and them, of course, for the next lesson, the next real life lesson in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this machinima is going to be useful for the ones that didn't have the time to come, for example, although quite a lot of them did turn up. And it's going to focus more easily on the aims of the lesson.
Mm-hmm. So you also use your machinima for feedback, right? Giving
Yes.
feedback. Could you say something about that? How you use it, what people do? I mean, do you create the video and then play it in the classroom, or when and how do people give feedback?
Yes, that is done in the classroom. Although
Mm-hmm.
it's always available on our Moodle platform, they find it very useful to turn to the machinima and watch it again and again and to improve their linguistic skills and performance. Um, the feedback, what feedback they give me, it's all positive so far. On one occasion, I did notice though that the student, although initially she had come onto the course being more talkative and less aware of her peers in the group, she sort of has become a little bit more, shall I say, sociable,
Mm-hmm.
please?
Mm-hmm.
Would you allow me to use this word? More sociable, and she allows more time for other course participants to contribute in the classroom.
In
She
in the
knows
real life classroom, right?
in the real life,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's right.
And do your students give their peers also feedback, or?
Actually, we are having a tutorial next week, so we're
Mm-hmm.
going to focus on that next week, yes. And through task sheet, this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they are quite discreet about the comments they make, and they do avoid um, making direct remarks to each other about their linguistic performance or phonological, for example, performance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they leave me to this
Okay.
mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And I do this through one-to-one tutorials.
Okay.
It's more discreet, it's
Mm-hmm.
safer, it's more polite, I would say.
Yeah, that's fantastic way of giving feedback. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, I said I had one question and I came up with tons of more
Yes,
questions, but
we could get on talking about this for
yeah,
hours.
that's true. That's true. But I think today is a holiday for you and me, and I think we should come to an end. And I'm really, really grateful for your valuable time.
Thank you so much for everything.
Well, it's
It's great.
wonderful having you around, Helena. So I'm
Thank
sure
you.
there will be lots of more opportunities to talk.
Bye, Christel.
Bye
See you
bye.
soon.
Thank you.